Hello fellow drivers, we are back with another tutorial. First of all, I want to thank everyone who watched the first tutorial on livery modding in F1 2020. Thank you for all the likes and the words and the suggestions and the tips. Thank you for helping me help you guys learn how to do this so we can all learn together. The reason I'm doing this video, this part 2, is to clear up a few discrepancies in the first video. There were a few inaccuracies, a few things that we didn't know, some things that were pointed out to me by other modders as well as viewers of the video out there. So I want to go over those things, and also the biggest thing I want to go over is how to get in-game sponsor logos on your modded liveries. A lot of people were asking about how to do that. There was some debate about whether or not it could be done. Then people said, hey, I saw some other YouTubers do it on their videos, and so far I haven't seen any other tutorial video that shows how to do this. I figured out how to do this, and it's so simple. I'm just kind of mad at myself for not figuring this out before. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that real quick, as well as clear up a few inconsistencies and talk about some of the issues that some of you guys ran across with livery modding in F1 2020. So let's get started. So first things first, getting in-game sponsor logos on your modded liveries. The reason that it did not work before was simple. Most people were modding a livery, and in the tutorial I picked the livery to mod the 70th anniversary livery, and most people use that livery because it came on the FOM 3D model from Race Department. Any livery in which in-game sponsors cannot be placed on the livery, those liveries, when edited, will not show the sponsors. So the solution is to simply edit a livery that allows you to put sponsor logos from the game on it. Now, how do you know which ones to pick? In short, pretty much like the RaceNet ones, the Michael Schumacher liveries, the 70th anniversary livery, none of those liveries you can put in-game sponsors on. It is locked. If you try and do it in the game, you get a little message saying, hey, you cannot add sponsors to this livery. So what you have to do is edit one that allows you to do that. Now that leads me to my next point. In the first video, I talked about the 3 types of files, the _D, M, and S files, and I mistakenly said that the _M file was a matte file. That is wrong. It is a masking file. The matte effects are done in the _S file along with the specular effects. What the _M file does is it actually masks out certain parts of a livery in order to show logos, decals, or the specular layer underneath it. So you'll notice that actually if you go into Ego Archiver, you'll actually notice that there are liveries that do not have an _D file. They do not have a diffuse file, and this is simply because they use the masking file along with the specular file in order to create the livery. The masking file is specifically what is used to allow you to change the color of your livery in the in-game editor. So if it does not have a masking file or is blanked out, then you wouldn't be able to change the colors. That is why certain liveries have the M file that is blanked out already, because those liveries, the color changing ability is locked in game, like the Michael Schumacher liveries or the 70th anniversary livery. So in short, you need to select a livery that you know for a fact is color locked and can show sponsors. So you got to play around to see which liveries match up, but I have found that the Cosmos livery actually works perfect for this. That livery is called livery epic _01. It looks like this. Is a very, very cool livery. Now it is a locked livery. You've got to unlock it via podium pass. It's not very expensive. I can't remember what level it is or how many pick coins it is, but you should unlock it. It's a pretty cool livery anyway. So this is the livery that we are going to use. So the first thing you want to do, you're going to open Photoshop just like you did. And those of you that did not see the original tutorial video, I suggest you go back and give that video a very quick watch. It's only about 20 minutes long, so you can understand some of these things. I'm going to speak assuming that you've at least watched part of that video. So you're going to open your PSD file with 3D model in it. You're going to open your working texture, and we're just going to do something super simple here. All right, there's something super simple. We're going to just make it white and black diagonally. Let's take a look here, and that's what we get. This interesting looking panda scheme. Okay, so we want to go ahead and export that out. And this is a good chance to talk about one of the issues that a lot of people were having when they were exporting their files. I did not mention this in the first video, but first of all, make sure you're using Intel TextureWorks. I did mention this in the first video that there are other DDS types. They actually will work. They will look weird in the game because of the way that they show RGB channels. So you want to use the Intel TextureWorks format. The link to that plugin is in the description. Download that one and use it. So the settings that you want to choose is color, and then I said BC7 in the first video, but make sure you pick either one of these sRGB formats. Fine is the one that I always choose, and it works correctly. I also said to auto generate bitmaps. If you have a lot of layers in your livery, like custom sponsors that you've added, or just a ton of layers, you might want to have it generate bitmaps from layers. Some people have reported that sometimes the sponsored logos that they add to their car are kind of blurry, or they're just having some kind of problems. So go ahead and use the from layers bitmap generation, but I have never had any issue using auto generate, and that's what we're going to use for this tutorial. So texture type, color, compression, BC7, fine, sRGB, and bitmaps, your choice. All right, so we're going to save this as livery epic 1 the diffuse file. We'll get to the masking file in a minute, but right now we're going to save it as a diffuse file. Once that's done, you're going to reopen the ERP archiver. You're going to go to that livery. Once that's done, you're going to go to textures. You're going to go to import. You're going to find your texture. Be sure to overwrite the bitmaps here. And there you go. There is your texture. Okay, so let's talk about the masking file for a minute. Now, some of these files will look blank, but there is actually a RGB channel or a color label that is actually there that you cannot see because it's only 8 pixels by 8 pixels. So what we want to do is one of two things. Either you need to export this _m file and take that 8 by 8 image and make it black. That will make it transparent in the game, or you need to make it completely transparent by completely deleting that, which is what I have done here with this file. So you want to export that out, and then you make it a transparent layer, or either make it black and then re-import it, and then also re-import that same one as the _s file if the livery that you are editing has a specular file on it. So you need both of these blank. Now, if you want to create a specular file for your livery, you can also do that. I believe on race department, someone has unlocked the code of what colors create what specular effects on the _s file. So that information is out there for you to find and for you to use if you want to create the specular maps for your custom liveries. So once you have these both blanked out, and then you have your D file as you want it here, go ahead and save it. Click yes, you do want to replace it, and you should be good to go. So now let's go ahead and open up F1 2020. And now we can see our livery loaded here in my team. Now, if we want to add the sponsor logos, what we then need to do is go over to customization, select car liveries. And then we can see here, this is the Cosmos livery that we've changed. And you're going to go to sponsor decals. And then you're going to add your decals. Slot 1. F2 will change the color. And now we have our livery with our sponsor sponsor decals on it in game. Really simple. So in short, to reiterate, you want to select a livery that allows you to add sponsor decals to it. Make sure the _m file is either black or just made into a transparent layer, and then go ahead and import your modded livery like you normally would, and then go and add your sponsor decals. So this is the first My Team livery that I did. There are no sponsor decals on it, and this is because I replaced the 70s edition livery. If I go to that livery and select it, see, I cannot add sponsor decals to it. This is why they simply don't appear. Since you have to manually add the decals, they just simply will not appear on the car. So I highly recommend using the Cosmos livery anyway. It seems to be really simple to do that with. But let me know in the comments any other liveries that you come across that make this process any easier or just as easy as using the Cosmos livery. All right, this next tip, this is some good information from May and Trey. He's on the race department forums as well. He also posted some comments on the previous video about this. A lot of you will notice that when you go and look at your livery in a menu, it will look blurry like this one. Now, this is actually the livery that I created earlier using the 70th anniversary livery. Now here it does not show my livery, it still shows a blurry version of the 70th anniversary livery, and I know a lot of people get to this point and think that their livery is not working. The reason that this is because all of the My Team ERP files pull from the same bitmaps from the FOM car. So if you only overwrite one, what happens is any other time that the original livery is displayed, it simply uses a low level of detail version of that livery. The fix for this is to import your livery to all of the My Team ERPs or anywhere where the original livery would be displayed. You need to replace it there and you will always see it in the appropriate menu. Now, even though it's blurry here, it will always appear correctly in My Team once you've loaded that mode up. Also, you may be seeing the following error in Ego ARP Archiver, which says that it cannot create the preview. The bitmap files and ERP data do not match. This goes back to the previous point. It is the same thing where all of the My Team ERP files use the same bitmaps for the FOM car. All you have to do to fix this is import your livery here and you won't see this error anymore. However, you can just ignore this. As we just saw in F1 2020, it works fine. This is just a matter of preference if you want to be like super thorough. I just ignore this and it works fine for me. Also, in the first video, I stated that if you change engine suppliers at any time during your My Team career, that you would have to then alter the liveries for your new engine supplier. That is true, but you still need to edit that livery for your old engine supplier too, or you will get the blurry livery effect. Thanks for YouTube viewer Boss for figuring that out on accident. So if you switch from Mercedes to Honda, then you need to put that livery in Honda and Mercedes for it to display correctly on your FOM car. Also, another real quick thing I wanted to touch on here is if you're changing anything that has a transparent layer in the background, you must be sure to save it as a texture type color plus alpha, because if you save it as color, like I'll show you here, then what it does is it takes that transparency layer and makes it into a color channel. So that if you go to import it, this is what you'll get. You'll get this black box around it, and it won't show up correctly in the game. Make sure that when you save it, you choose color plus alpha, and then select the sRGB compression format. Hit auto generate, and then when we go back into and we can see there now that is correct, and that's how it's going to look in the game. Also, another thing, GIMP users, I have been getting a lot of people asking, hey, how is this possible in GIMP? Can I just use the template? What do I need to do? I'll say this about GIMP. I know that GIMP is free and powerful, However, for purposes of modding, sometimes it's going to fall short in areas like this. Now you can edit these textures in GIMP. I mean, they're just images and you can edit them in any image editor, really. And if you have a DDS texture export plugin for GIMP, then it will export these textures to the correct format for you to place them in the game. However, you miss out on a few things. For instance, you can't use the FOM car 3D model in order to preview your liveries in real time. That is really a pretty important thing. It just makes the process so much easier so that you don't have to work solely from editing the texture. Also, GIMP only supports RGB color channels, and this isn't a huge thing for this particular and that isn't a huge thing in the context of modding for F1 2020, but it can be for some other games depending on the different effects that you are trying to achieve. Also, you don't get the wireframe layer, you don't get smart objects, you don't get any of those things with GIMP that you get with Photoshop. So your mileage may vary. Those of you that use GIMP, I suggest that you guys keep asking around the GIMP communities for different solutions on how to achieve some of these same things that you're able to do in Photoshop with smart objects. But having said that, you can use GIMP. It's just you're going to be somewhat limited in what you can do and how you can do it, unlike Photoshop. By the way, if you want a subscription to Photoshop from the Adobe Creative Cloud, I think I only pay $10 a month for this. This is a lot better than paying $800 for the full program or trying to find a cracked version, both of which are options. And that's going to do it. Once again, thanks for all the support in the first videos. I've been getting a lot of requests to actually do video tutorials for the helmets and the race suits, so I'm working on those now. It doesn't take a lot of time to actually do that work. It just takes some time to edit the videos, and I like playing the game. So I'll try and get those videos out for you guys before the weekend. Keep showing the love. If you like this video and found it particularly helpful or useful, be sure to hit like and subscribe so I can bring you more of the sim racing content that you guys want. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.